Hi everyone, warm welcome to you all. My name's Claudia from Yoga for Everybody, and this video is lesson 5 of our beginner yoga series. So over the last few weeks we've been doing foundation yoga poses, so starting yoga from scratch, so it's a series for complete beginners. If you've missed any of the classes, you're welcome to go back and check out lessons 1 to 4, because what we're going to be doing today is linking all the foundation poses that we learned in those classes and putting them into a bit of a flow. So I won't be breaking down the poses as much. I'll be more cueing you into each pose. So rather than spending a long time explaining the pose, which is what I've done in the previous videos, today we'll be linking them all together and practicing a bit of a flow. If you've got any blocks or books or anything you can use as props, please go ahead and grab those. You might need them for today's class. And as always, please let me know what you think of this class in comments, like and share, maybe follow me on Instagram, connect with me on Facebook, and otherwise I hope you enjoyed today's practice. Let's begin. Today we're going to begin in a child's pose. So come onto your mats, sit back onto your heels, big toes are touching, and then open your knees if you need to lower your chest forwards, walking your fingertips as far as feels comfortable, and then lowering your forehead down towards the floor or on the floor if you can reach. Remember, you can always use the props in this pose, so if your hips are lifting, you can pop a block in between your sit bones and your heels, and another one in between the fore and the forehead. So just stretch forwards through the fingertips. This should already be quite a good stretch for the hips and the back, especially the lower back. Take a deep breath in and exhale. And if you're familiar with Ujjayi breathing technique, you can use it in this practice. But if not, don't worry about it too much. Just try and work with the breath. Listen to the cues that I give you and try your best to breathe in and out as and when I tell you. So as a general rule, we breathe in when we expand and breathe out when we contract on the poses. So let's take an inhale in. And then on an exhale, move your hands over to the right side. Keep your sit bones where they are and just feel the stretch in the left side of the body. Deep breath in. And then move your hands to the opposite side and feel the opening and the stretch in the right side of the body. One more deep breath. On an exhale, move your hands back to center, and then inhale, walk your fingertips forwards towards your knees and come up into a kneeling pose. So just bring your knees together, and from here you can continue sitting back on your heels with your toes tucked, or maybe see if you can tuck your toes, with your toes released, or see if you can maybe tuck your toes and stretch your feet out a little bit as well. Take a breath in and then bring your hands behind you. See if you can interlace your hands behind your back. Roll your shoulders away from you and stretch back with your hands. So opening the chest and the shoulders here. Your neck's nice and relaxed. You can drop your chin down a little bit. Take a deep breath in. On an exhale, maybe look over your right shoulder. Move your hands to the left. Come back to center, take an inhale and switch sides. Come back to center, release the hands, and then come into a tabletop position. So spreading the fingertips nice and wide, shoulders over wrists, hips over knees, shoulder width apart with your hands, hip width apart with your knees. We're going to continue warming up the spine with 3 cycles of cat-cow. So on an inhale, start arching the spine, lift your chest forwards and look forwards. A minor back bend here. Exhale, go the opposite way, so round the back. Bring your chin towards your chest and look down. Feel the stretch in between the shoulder blades. One more time, inhale, arch the spine, look forwards. Exhale, round the back and look down. Inhale, arch the spine, look forwards. And last time, exhale, round the back and look down. From here, come into a neutral spine. We're going to do a balance. So take an inhale. On an exhale, right hand forward, left leg back. You can keep your fingertips and your toes on the floor, or maybe lift. Doesn't have to be high. Exhale, release and switch sides. Left hand forward, right leg back, lift. And exhale, release. One more time, right hand forward, left leg back, lift. Try and keep your spine neutral. And release. Left hand forward, right leg back, lift. And release. This time, right hand forward, left leg back, maybe lift. And then either just tap your fingertips and your toes down onto the floor, or maybe on an exhale, see if you can bring your elbow to knee. 1. Inhale, lift. Exhale, elbow to knee. 2. Inhale, lift. Exhale, elbow to knee. 3. Inhale, lift. Hold. And then release everything back down onto the floor and switch sides. So left hand forward, right leg back. And then see if you can lift. Get your balance, and then maybe just tap your fingertips and toes down 3 times, or come with me. Exhale, elbow to knee. 1. Inhale, lift. Exhale, elbow to knee. 2. Inhale, lift. Exhale, elbow to knee. 3. Inhale, lift. Hold. And then exhale, release. Tuck the toes under, and then inhale, start lifting your hips up towards the sky into our first downward facing dog. So remember, you can keep the knees as bent as you need to, and just really focus on stretching the back and lifting the hips up towards the sky. And then maybe pedaling your heels down one at a time. Really press into your hands, roll your shoulders away from your ears. Inhale. On an exhale, drop your knees back down onto the mat, back into tabletop position. So you might need your blocks for the next one, because we're going to step the right foot in between your hands. So you can either stay hands flat on the mat, or maybe hands on the block. I'll just show you with this one. So back into tabletop position. Inhale, stretch your right leg back and maybe lift. On an exhale, we're going to bend the right knee, bring your right knee towards the chest, round the spine, and then step your right foot in between your hands. We're coming into a low lunge. So just move your left knee back if you need to. Feel the stretch in your left hip crease. Right knees over your right ankle. Your hands can be on the blocks, or maybe fingertips to the floor. And when you've got the balance, inhale, lift your arms up. And take a deep inhale. On an exhale, hands back down onto the mat or the blocks. And then same principle, see if you can bring your right knee into your chest. And then bring your knee down onto the mat, back into a tabletop position. Take an inhale. On an exhale, start bending your elbows in. Drop your chest and your chin down onto the mat. Straighten the legs, release the toes, and inhale, lift up into a baby cobra. So just keep your elbows pressing into your ribs. Exhale, release. Inhale, press yourself back into a tabletop position. And then tuck the toes under, lift your hips up, downward facing dog. Deep breath in down dog. And then on your next exhale, drop your knees back down onto the mat. Using the blocks if you need to. Inhale, lift your left leg up. Exhale, round the spine, bring your left knee towards your chest. And then step it through in between your hands. bring your right knee back if you need to. Left knee is over your left ankle. And when you're ready, inhale, lift your arms up and stretch through the fingertips. On an exhale, bring your hands back down to the mat, and then bringing the left knee in, step the left knee back to tabletop position, keeping the elbows in. Let's lower all the way down onto the mat. Release the toes and inhale, lift up, baby cobra. Exhale, release. Press back up into a tabletop position. Tuck the toes under, downward facing dog. So the next move we're going to do is a high lunge. So we're going to step the right foot in between the hands first. If you need to, you can do the variation we've just done, where you go onto your knees and bring your foot in between the hands, or see if you can try it from the downward facing dog position. So take an inhale, on an exhale, bring your right knee towards the chest, round the spine, bring your weight forwards until your shoulders are over your wrists, and then step your right foot in between the hands. And again, you're welcome to use your blocks if you need to. So really press back with your left heel. Again, feel the stretch in your left hip crease here. Right knee is over your right ankle. And when you're ready, we're going to inhale and come up into a crescent lunge. Deep breath in, stretch up through the fingertips. On an exhale, bring your fingertips back down onto the floor into a runner's lunge. And then place your left hand flat on the floor. And on an inhale, lift your right arm up for a twist. So deep inhale, try not to put too much weight into your left hand. Your weight should be in your legs. You can gaze up towards your right fingertips. On an exhale, drop your right hand back down onto the mat. And then step your right leg back. So bring your right knee into your chest and step it back into a plank. Now either hold a full plank or drop your knees down onto the mat if you're still building your strength. Deep breath in. On an exhale, drop your knees down, keeping the elbows in, chest chin down onto the mat. Inhale, lift up, cobra. Exhale, release. And then press back either into a tabletop position or a full plank if you've got the strength. And then back into a downward facing dog. So same sequence on the other leg. Take an inhale in your down dog. On an exhale, bring your left knee into your chest. Round the spine, bring your weight forwards until your shoulders are over your wrists. And step your left foot in between the hands. Press back with your right heel this time, get your balance, and then inhale, come up into a crescent lunge. So just gaze down to make sure your knee's not going over your toes, it's not falling in. Inhale, on an exhale, drop your fingertips back down onto the floor into a runner's lunge. And then right hand flat to the floor. Inhale, lift your left arm up for a twist. Gazing down or gazing up towards your left. Fingertips inhale. Exhale, release. Let's step back into a full plank or a modified plank. Take a breath in. On an exhale, knees, chest, chin down onto the floor. Inhale, lift up, cobra. Exhale, release. Inhale, maybe press back up into a full plank or a modified plank. And exhale, downward facing dog. On your next inhale, look between your hands and step your feet to the front of the mat. A few little steps or a couple of big steps. Keep your feet about hip width apart, keep your knees bent, and just lower your chest over your thighs. Relax your neck and your head and just hang here in this ragdoll position for a couple of breaths. So you can move your fingertips to the right side on an exhale. Same thing as we did in child's pose, just feel the stretch in your left side of the body and then come back to center. Move your fingertips to the left. Come back to center. And then maybe see if you can straighten your right leg and then your left leg. See how that feels at the back of your legs today. Rebend the knees, take an inhale, and on an exhale start rolling all the way up to standing, one vertebra at a time. Head and neck are the last ones to come up. So standing at the front of the mat in Tadasana or mountain pose, your feet can be hip width apart or together, big toes touching heels apart. Just make sure your tailbone is lengthening towards the floor. Stand here for a moment. And then from here, place your hands to your hips. We're going to sit back in a chair pose. So take an inhale and sit back in chair pose. Lift your arms up. Make sure your knees are not going over your toes. Hands are stretching up. Inhale. Exhale. Fold forwards over your legs. On an inhale, place your hands to your shins. Make a flat back and look forwards. Maybe straighten your legs. And you can use your blocks here if you need to. Exhale, fingertips to the floor. Take a step back with your left leg. So we're back in our runner's lunge. And then spin your left heel down onto the mat to position it for warrior one. So the toes are pointing towards the front left edge of the mat. Inhale, lift your arms up, warrior one. On an exhale, hands back down onto the mat. Spin your left heel up and then step back into a plank. Take an inhale, exhale, knees down, chest, chin down onto the mat. Inhale, lift up, Cobra. Exhale, release, press back into a plank. And exhale, downward facing dog. Deep breath in down dog. On your next inhale, look between your hands, step your feet to the front of the mat. And exhale, fold forwards. On an inhale, we're going to come back up into chair pose, so bend your knees and see if you can lift your body up. Hands up into chair pose. Inhale. Exhale, fold forwards. Inhale, hands to your shins or fingertips to the floor or the blocks. Make a flat back, look forwards. And on an exhale, step the right leg back into a runner's lunge. And then spin your right heel down onto the mat for a warrior one position. So your toes are pointing towards the front right edge of the mat, roughly. When you're ready, inhale, come up. Deep breath in. On an exhale, lower your hands back down, spin your right heel up, step the left leg back into a plank. On an exhale, drop your knees down, chest, chin down onto the mat. Inhale, lift up, Cobra. If you want to start working on a full Cobra, you can start straightening your arms a bit more. It's a bit of a deeper back bend. Exhale, release. Inhale, press back up into a plank. And exhale, downward facing dog. Deep breath in down dog. We're going to step the right foot in between the hands one more time. So you've got an option of dropping your knees down. You've got an option of bringing your knee towards your chest. Or maybe see if you can add a three-legged dog to the practice. So all we're going to do is inhale, see if you can lift your right leg up. Doesn't have to be high, just as high as feels comfortable. And then on an exhale, bend your knee,
round the spine, knee to chest, bring your weight forwards and step it through in between your hands. So just spicing it up a little bit, but obviously do whatever variation works for you. Drop your left heel down onto the mat one more time, and inhale, come up, warrior one. One more deep breath in. On an exhale, we're going to open into warrior two. So spin your left toes towards the long edge of the mat. Maybe widen the stance if you need to. Inhale, left hand down your left leg, right arm over your right ear, reverse warrior. And on an exhale, side angle. So right elbow to your right knee, left arm over your left ear as variation one. If you want to, you can drop your fingertips down onto the floor or maybe onto the block. So I've got my block on the outside of my right foot. Feel the stretch in the left side of the body. One more inhale. On an exhale, see if you can come back up into warrior two. Circle your hands back down onto the mat. Spin your left heel up. And then step your right leg back, plank. Lowering down, you can carry on dropping the knees, or if you want to, start working on building your strength a little bit more. Maybe see if you can lower from a full plank with control. If that doesn't work, don't worry. Just keep dropping your knees down until you feel strong enough. Inhale, lift into a cobra. Exhale, release. Press back into a plank or a modified plank. And then downward facing dog. At any point if you're feeling tired, please feel free to drop onto your hands and knees into child's pose for a rest. There's no need to torture yourself if your shoulders are aching. Please just take a rest. Otherwise, when you're ready, we're going to step the left foot in between your hands. So whichever variation you'd like to try. Inhale, I'm lifting my left leg up. Exhale, bend your left knee around the spine, bring your knee towards your chest, and then step it through in between your hands. Drop the right heel down onto the mat, and inhale, come up, warrior one. And then on an exhale, open into warrior two. If you need to adjust the stance, you can do. I'm widening mine a little bit. Inhale, right hand down your right leg, left arm over your left ear, reverse warrior. And then exhale, left elbow to your left knee and right arm up and over your right ear. So just gaze down, make sure your left knee is not falling in, it's still in line with your second and third toe. You can drop your fingertips down if you want to, or place them on the block. So I've got my block on the outside of my left leg. Gaze down and maybe gaze up towards your left fingertips if that feels comfortable for the neck. On an exhale, see if you can come back up into warrior two. Circle your hands back down onto the mat. Lift your right heel off the floor. Step back into a plank. Lowering down, whichever variation you want. All the way down onto the mat. Inhale, lift up, cobra. Exhale, release, back into plank. Downward facing dog. On an inhale, look between your hands. Step your feet to the front of the mat. Exhale, fold forwards. On an inhale, we're going to come all the way up to standing. So keeping the back nice and long, you can have your hands to your hip first, or see if you can lift both hands up. Inhale and exhale, arms by your sides. Mountain pose. From here, place your hands to your hips. Take a big step back with your left leg. So your toes are pointing to the long edge of the mat. And then spin your right toes to the front of the mat. Left toes are staying towards the long edge. Inhale, arms out to the sides. We're going into a triangle pose, so take a breath in. On an exhale, reach forwards with your right fingertips and then drop your right hand down your right leg somewhere, or if you want to use a block, maybe drop it onto the block that's outside of your right foot. So this time the legs are straight, but you're keeping a tiny little micro bend in the knees to protect them, so don't lock the knees. Stretching both sides of the body, gazing up or gazing directly in front of you. One more breath in. And then on an exhale, see if you can use your core muscles and come back up. Hands to your hips. We're going to switch sides. So right toes in, left toes out. Maybe grab your block with you and place it on the outside of your left foot this time. Inhale, lift your arms out to the sides. On an exhale, stretch forwards with your left fingertips and drop your left hand down your left leg somewhere, right arm up towards the sky, or maybe left hand to the block. Feel the stretch in both sides of the body if you can. Gaze up, or maybe keep gazing down. One more breath. And then exhale, come back up. Place your hands to the hips, spin your left toes towards the front, the long edge of the mat, and then just to heel your feet towards your body. And from here we're going to come seated onto our mats and do a few seated postures before we finish off the class. So come down onto the floor and just stretch your legs directly in front of you. You don't need to flex your feet, just have your feet relaxed for now. You can roll the flesh away from your bum to just sit more firmly on the floor. If you're struggling a little bit to sit with a straight spine in this position, just use a block to prop you up, or a blanket or a pillow or anything you've got to use as a prop. So try and keep your legs fairly straight. You can have a little bend in the knees. Place your hands by your hips, roll your shoulders away from you. Just drop your chin down and then take a deep inhale in through the nose and exhale. From here, bring your right knee towards you, so bend your right knee. Bring your right foot towards your body, knee into your chest. And then step your right foot over your left leg. So you can stay in this variation, or maybe see if you can bend the left knee as well. So we're going to take a twist to the right from here. Place your left hand onto your right knee, right hand behind you, inhale, and on an exhale, twist to the right. So I feel it in my left hip flexor here. I'm keeping my left toes flexed. Inhale, lift your left arm up. On an exhale, hook your left elbow over the right knee to twist a little bit deeper. If this doesn't feel comfortable, just come back on to the previous variation. Or you can even return to having your left leg straight if this is too much for the hip. Deep breath in, and then on an exhale, release and cross your legs. Give them a bit of a shake. And then keeping the right leg straight, cross your left foot over your right knee so it's on the outside. You can stay in this variation or maybe bend the right knee as well. So your kind of right heel's towards your left hip. Right hand's on your left knee, left hand behind you. Inhale, and on an exhale, take a twist to the left. And again, stay here, or maybe on an inhale, lift your right arm up. On an exhale, hook your right elbow over your left knee for just a slightly deeper
twist. One more breath in, and then exhale, release. Release your legs, give your legs a bit of a shake. From here, bend your knees, place your feet down onto the floor, and with control, lower all the way down onto the mat. We're going to do a bridge pose from here. So bring your feet as close to your body as you can. Keep them about hip width apart. Your knees are pointing up towards the sky. So when we start lifting into a bridge pose, make sure your knees don't start falling out. That's quite a common thing to happen, so just be mindful. Arms by your sides, palms facing down. Take an inhale, and on an exhale, start lifting your hips up just as far as feels comfortable for the neck and the lower back. Use your glutes to help you lift. Press down into your hands to support your body as well. Deep inhale, and then exhale. Slowly lower back down, one vertebra at a time. Bring your knees to your chest, just rock along the spine to reset after the back bend. And we'll try this one more time. So bring your feet back down onto the floor. Arms by your sides, palms facing down. And then inhale, lift. If you wanted to, you can bring your arms over your head for a deeper stretch, so your palms are facing up. And back out of this pose if it doesn't feel comfortable. One more breath in otherwise, and then exhale, lower everything back down slowly, one vertebra at a time. Bring your knees to your chest, just rock along the spine. And then open your arms out to the sides, palms facing down. Take an inhale. On an exhale, start bringing your knees over to the right. So taking a supinal twist. Maybe gaze towards your left fingertips. Deep breath in. On an exhale, bring your knees back up to center, and on an exhale, drop your knees to the left, gazing towards your right fingertips or maybe just directly ahead of you. Deep breath in, and then exhale, bring your knees back towards you, hug them in one more time, and then lower your feet back down onto the floor, straighten the legs, let your feet fall out, have your arms by your sides, palms facing up. Relax every part of the body, close your eyes, and try and return to the natural rhythm of your breath. So we're in our final relaxation pose, Savasana. If you need anything to make you feel more comfortable, a pillow or a blanket, go ahead and grab it. And we're just going to relax in this Savasana pose for a few moments. Try and maybe work your way up from your toes to the crown of your head. Make sure you're not tensing any part of the body. Focus your attention on the area that you feel tension in, and then see if you can take a deep breath in, and on an exhale, release. And as always, I would like to encourage you to stay in this Savasana pose for a few more minutes if you've got the time. And then when you're ready, just roll onto your side and come up into a seated position, either with your legs crossed or back on your heels. And thank you so much for joining the class today. I hope you enjoyed it. So we're going to start doing a few more seated postures from next week or next lesson. Have a beautiful rest of your day and a lovely weekend, and I hope to see you again soon. Namaste.